The old Victorian house stood on a hill overlooking the town of Havenwood, its silhouette a jagged tooth against the bruised twilight sky. The Baileys Thomas, Sarah, and their daughter Morwenna had bought it for a steal, charmed by its history and the promise of a fresh start. Thomas, a writer struggling with his second novel, saw inspiration lurking in its shadowed corners. Sarah, a pragmatic architect, envisioned restoring it to its former glory. Morwenna, a precocious 10-year-old, simply wanted a room of her own. The attic, however, was a different story. Even on the sunniest days, it remained cloaked in a perpetual twilight. Dust motes danced in the faint light filtering through the grimy windows, illuminating forgotten relics, a moth-eaten rocking horse, a stack of yellowed letters tied with faded ribbon, a portrait with eyes that seemed to follow you. Morwenna, drawn by a morbid curiosity, was the first to venture up there. She found it on her third visit, a small, wooden box tucked away beneath a pile of old quilts. It was intricately carved with symbols she didn't recognize, and when she opened it, a wave of icy air washed over her. Inside, nestled on a bed of crimson velvet, was a single, tarnished silver locket. From that day on, things began to change. Morwenna became withdrawn, plagued by nightmares and whispering to herself in the dark. Thomas, initially dismissive, found himself increasingly irritable, his writing plagued by writer's block and a creeping sense of unease. Sarah, the most grounded of them all, started hearing noises, whispers, rustling, the faint sound of children crying when she was alone in the house. The locket, Morwenna confessed, was the source of her troubles. She claimed it spoke to her, telling her secrets, showing her things that weren't there. Thomas, desperate to dismiss it as childish fantasy, tried to take the locket away, but Morwenna clung to it with surprising strength, her eyes wide with terror. That night, the house came alive. The floorboards groaned and creaked, the wind howled like a banshee, and the shadows danced with a malevolent energy. Thomas, jolted awake by a blood-curdling scream, found Morwenna standing at the foot of his bed, her eyes glowing with an unnatural light. "It wants to play," she whispered, her voice a chilling imitation of a child's. "It wants to play with all of us." The malevolent force in the attic had been awakened, drawn out by the locket and Morwenna's innocent curiosity. It was a presence that fed on fear and despair, twisting the house into a labyrinth of terror. Thomas and Sarah, united by their love for Morwenna, had to confront the darkness that threatened to consume them all. They delved into the history of the house, uncovering a tragic tale of a family torn apart by madness and death. The original owner, a reclusive artist, had become obsessed with the occult, summoning a dark entity that ultimately destroyed him and his family. The locket was a conduit, a key to unlocking the gateway between worlds. The climax arrived on a stormy night, mirroring the night of the original tragedy. The house shook, the windows rattled, and the entity manifested in the attic, a swirling vortex of shadows and whispers. Thomas and Sarah, armed with newfound knowledge and a desperate courage, confronted it. They realized that the only way to defeat the entity was to destroy the locket, severing its connection to the house and the world. But Morwenna, now completely possessed, stood in their way, her eyes burning with malevolent glee. In a heart-wrenching moment, Sarah managed to distract the entity, allowing Thomas to snatch the locket from Morwenna's grasp. He hurled it into the fireplace, and as the flames consumed it, a deafening scream echoed through the house. The shadows receded, the wind died down, and the house fell silent. Morwenna collapsed, unconscious but unharmed. The Baileys had survived, but the expert